Hey Cardinals fans, it's roommate Tom, aka Tom Farmer from the Crunch Zone. While you may be getting ready for July 4th fireworks and festivities, the fun never ends for U of L women's basketball head coach Jeff Walz. Fortunately, the man himself was able to make some time for us during his busy schedule. We sat down with him in his office on the campus of the University of Louisville to trade some notes on what it means to promote a sport that may not always get the attention it deserves. Coach Jeff Walz, appreciate you having us in during your summer busy season. Some people think summer is the off season, but I don't think you really have an off season, do you?
No, you know what? It's been a great summer so far. We have all of our players on campus right now, except for Norika Kono from Japan. She's actually participating on the Japanese U19 team, which I will get the opportunity to coach against here later in July when I'm coaching the USA U19 team. So it's going to be fun to have the opportunity to coach against her and see her and catch up with her. But she'll be here late August when school starts up in the fall. But everybody else is here working extremely hard, and it's been a great summer so far.
I saw you've had a couple of season ticket holder and fan events too. Those seemed like a lot of fun.
Yeah, you know what? We've always tried to reach out to our season ticket holders. We've done a great job of building our booster program. We've almost doubled in size the past 3 years. So excited about that. And then we do a little event at my house for different levels of our booster club. It's kind of like a reward if you join at a certain level. So, really had a great time. It's a good opportunity for our players also to get a chance to meet some of our fans.
And if fans want to become a part of those things, I think they can reach out to Adrienne Johnson, right?
Yes. You can send her an email, aj@gocards.com, and she'll be happy to get the information out to our fans.
Well, it's good to hear. We're glad to see you. The main reason I wanted to sit down with you today, most of me folks know me as Tom Farmer, aka Roommate Tom. That's my unfortunate handle at the moment. But they also know that I spent the past couple of years as president of the Coopers, which is the Louisville City FC, the professional soccer teams group. And I came into that as not a soccer fan. And I'm still not really a soccer fan, but I'm a Louisville City fan. And the thing for me was that I went to one match and I was hooked. And then I became very much involved. And I noticed that your methodology for pitching the women's game is very similar to the one that I use, which is I don't care if you like soccer or I don't care if you like women's basketball. If you come, the experience is what's going to bring you back. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Our biggest battle in women's basketball is getting people to come one time. If I can convince people to come to a game one time, the retention rate is extremely high because they like the event, they like the team, they like the style of play, and then the availability of our players, how we sign autographs after games. Our players do a great job of connecting with our fans. And when you do that, then it makes the fans feel like they're a part of the team. So we just try to get people to come one time. Come out, give us a chance. And I tell them, and I truly mean it, if you don't like it, if you go up to the window and buy a ticket, send me an email, tell me what you paid, I'll send you your $10 back.
Do you think that some of the players, especially the way they interact with fans, they have an awareness of what it means to promote the game, and so they're a little bit more willing to be connected with the fans?
There's no question about it. We understand what we have here is something special. We never take it for granted. Our players don't take our fans for granted. We go on the road, and there's some places, top 25 basketball teams that draw 1,000. They might draw 2,000. We have a loyal fan base, a very knowledgeable fan base, and our players appreciate that. So they do everything they can to continue to try to keep those fans that we have and build new fans.
Very much like what I had to do, I felt like I had a recording of myself that I would just repeat whenever I would do interviews, which is the same kind of spiel, right? And you do the same thing, but you do it on purpose, obviously. Is there anyone that you coming up through the ranks that you watched how they promoted the game and then modeled yourself after?
Well, my first 2 years I worked down at Western Kentucky with Paul Sandiford, and then spent 4 years with him out at Nebraska. And Paul was magnificent at getting out in the community, working the city, the town, wherever he may have been, and getting fans to come. I learned from Paul. You've got to give if you want to receive, and he used to go out to anybody, anywhere, and speak. And that's the same thing that we do here. I enjoy the phone calls I get when I'll be asked to come speak, and they'll be like, "What's your speaking fee?" I'm like, you know what? I really don't have one. If you'd like to make a little donation to our basketball program, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I just love the opportunity to get out and speak so I can sell our program, sell our players. If I can get 5 or 6 people from every event that I go speak at to come to our game, it's only going to multiply our fan base, because as soon as they start telling people, you know what, we went to the women's game the other night, we really enjoyed it. Great family environment, great crowd, knowledgeable fans, and then the next thing you know, their neighbors are coming. So we just get out as much as we can to try to promote the program.
Usually for me that involved getting free beer for people, but I'm not sure you can do the same thing. So yes, not beer, but donations to the program. I agree with that. What do you think maybe 1, 2, or 3 things that either the NCAA, the university, anyone could implement from a larger perspective over the next couple of years that you think would greatly improve your capability for selling the program?
Well, you know what? I'll go back to even when Rick was here. Coach Patino was phenomenal at promoting our women's basketball program. And that's, I think, what helped draw our fan base and increase our fan base also. When you've got someone, a Hall of Fame coach, who's going, hey, don't forget our women play on Thursday night, go out and watch them play, it speaks volumes. And we've had that in the past. Charlie Strong was great at it, as our football coach. And I think that's what makes this place as special it is. When you have coaches that support each other, you might have some fans that only come to women's basketball games. But when we start talking about Danny and the volleyball team, hey, go watch them play. It's a great game. They'll sometimes listen to you. So I think within not just women's basketball, but within athletics, you have to have coaches that are willing to support each other.
One of the things that I struggled with was I had a supporter group that was filled with lifetime soccer fans. In fact, some people from outside of the United States who had literally grown up on soccer. And they would get frustrated when they saw me not talking about the game or the sport itself, but simply talking about the experience. And they would say, well, you're shortchanging it. You're not talking about all the awesome things about soccer. And I had to tell them, it's not that I'm selling soccer, I'm selling Louisville City FC, right? I have to sell this experience, and then they can learn about soccer. So in cases where you have to do what I did, and you're selling that experience and talking to the non-indoctrinated audience, do sometimes you get feedback from some of the really hardcore fans that are like, why aren't you talking about this or that? Or is it more that they understand the general concept?
Well, I think for the most part, with basketball, I'd say 95% to 97% of your fans that come out have seen it on TV, have a knowledge of the game. I'm one of those soccer fans that in college I'd go to our soccer matches, our women's team play, our men's team play, and I really didn't know enough about the game. And then I had a few players on the basketball team that had played soccer in high school that were kind of explaining to me what they were trying to do. To me, I was like, pull the goalies. 1-0 is driving me nuts. I'm about to beat my head against the bleacher. I want some goals. Well, then when they started to explain to me what was going on, well, then I could understand it a little bit better. I think we're fortunate because there's so much basketball on TV. If it's the NBA, college, whatever it might be, I think people have seen it. For us, it's just to get them down there. If I can get them down there and they see the quality of basketball that's being played, that's what surprises them. That's what all of a sudden piques an interest. They see how talented they are, and then all of a sudden they, on top of it, get to see what type of wonderful young women they are. We hook them. And that's why our fan base, I think my first year here, I think we were at about 2,200. In this past year, I mean, it was phenomenal. I think 9,500 to 10,000 every single night.
When somebody comes to you, or if somebody came to you and said, Coach, I really want to help you promote the sport, I don't know how the best way to do it is, Are there any no-nos, in other words, things that you try to tell them, avoid this, or things that you say, if you focus on this, this is going to work best for you? Talking about just the general fan trying to sell it to other fans.
No, I tell them, get them to a game any way you can. Good or bad. I also joke when I go out and speak, and I'm like, hey, if you don't like what you're seeing, go get yourself a beer, because at least we sell some in the arena. So and for men at times it's like, all right, we'll go out, let's go watch the game, and if we don't like it, we can have a good cold beer. If that's what it takes to get them to go, I'm all for it. So for me, if you can get someone to come down, it doesn't matter to me how you get them to come. I think once they get in there, they will really enjoy it.
Do you have, or are you thinking about your vision for the game in general, not just UofL women's basketball, but the women's basketball game in general? Over the next 5 to 10 years, where would you like to see things at that point?
Well, I think we're trying to make some changes. We're implementing more FIBA rules, which in terms of, our 4 quarters now. Instead of 2 halves, we have 4 quarters. We can advance the ball in the last minute of the game, which gives more excitement to the game. I'm excited that they've now reduced the shot clock on an offensive rebound. Instead of resetting back to the entire 30, now I think it's going to 15. I think it's 15, where in FIBA we play with a 24-second shot clock and it resets to 12. So if you get an offensive rebound, you can't just pull it out and now it's another 30. So those things I think are going to help speed up our game. It's going to make the game more exciting to watch. So I'm happy with where we're going. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get everything implemented.
So a couple more questions and we'll wrap up. I appreciate your time again.
Thank you.
What do you think the thing that this season you're most excited about the opportunity for coming up?
Well, I'm looking forward to the growth. I'm looking to see who's going to take that next step. When you graduate Asia Durr, Sam Furin, Erica Carter, those were 3 significant players. So now you've got some players that may have wanted more responsibility last year, and now they're going to have that opportunity. So it's going to be fun for me to see which ones decide to say, hey, now I want to do this. I want that. I want to help do a little bit what Asia did, what Sam did, Erica. So that's where it gets exciting for me as a coach.
And the last question, how are your junior Monopoly skills coming along?
You know what? Average. Now we have moved on to a little bit of Clue. So there's Junior Clue. And we have been having a great time with that. So we try to find a new board game each few weeks.
When I was in Albany, I saw some very intense Connect 4 games, so that might be the next thing as well.
You got it.
Well, Coach Walz, we appreciate it. We hope your summer goes great, and thank you again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.